Do you want to get that Marvel dick out of your mouth first?
I feel like you went first and said that so that I would have to have that as like the consequence for saying what I'm going to say. Well played, sir. Well played.
Welcome to the What's Our Verdict podcast, where we fashion ourselves cinematic judge and jury. My name's JJ Crowder. I'm here with my co-host, Javier Ortiz.
What is up, my nerds?
Andy and Anderson.
Some shit.
We appreciate your help growing the podcast. Go ahead and hit that follow or subscribe button. Tell a friend about us. Check out our website, whatsourverdict.com, where you can listen to all of our episodes. You can sign up for our newsletter, which will give you exclusive content and updates. You can also pick up some merchandise and interact with us. Make comments on our episodes. We always love to see those. Question we always ask is if you ever find yourself wondering if you should spend the time, money, or both on a movie. And to help with that question, each week we put a movie on trial, discuss the facts, pass judgment, and let you know our verdict. Today we're reviewing The Suicide Squad. It was released August 6th, 2021. It was written and directed by James Gunn. Stars Idris Elba, Margot Robbie, John Cena, Joel Kinnaman, Daniela Melchior, David Dastmalchian, Sylvester Stallone, and Viola Davis. Supervillains Bloodsport, Harley Quinn, Peacemaker, and a collection of nutty cons at Belle Reef Prison join the super secret, super shady Task Force X as they're dropped off at the remote, enemy-infused island of Corto Maltese for Javier.
There it is. Maltese.
So, yeah, if you haven't seen this movie yet and you're trying to avoid spoilers, now's the time to pause this podcast, go to YouTube, look up What's Our Verdict, listen to our spoiler-free to decide if you should go see this movie, and if so, where to watch it, whether the theater or stream it. Once you watch that or you go see the movie and you're ready for spoilers, come back, pick up where you left off because we're getting ready to spoil the shit out of this thing. Let's dive deep into this thing, guys. What a fucking weird ass.
Dive deep like Harley Quinn into the eye of a starfish.
Exactly.
Yeah, that was gross.
Dude, this whole movie's fucking gross. And can we just start out with the beginning? Like I did enjoy the setup. Like I knew it was coming to a degree because I'm not like you, Javier. Like I do read a lot more about movies than I probably should. So I know a lot of things that are coming that I probably don't want to know. But I knew 90% of the characters that we see at the beginning of this movie were going to die. I didn't expect that. I like that they make you lean into the fact that they have this character, and I can't think of his name. I should be able to know his name, the actor, but he's one that James Gunn is constantly working with. He's in the Suicide Squad or the Guardians of the Galaxy movie. God, why can I not think of this guy's name?
Oh, the whistle dude, the blue man?
Yeah.
Yeah. He was the old guy with the long blonde hair and the red suit who tried to paddle away and had his head blown up.
Yeah.
He's the
God,
bad guy or one of them in Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah, he's like half bad guy. Like he's the guy that he's like Quill's mentor. Turns out to be a good guy. The first thing Casey said when she saw him in the theater, she leaned over to me and she goes, "I'm Mary Poppins, y'all."
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Because that's one of the best slides ever.
Dude, I would watch this movie again just to watch Pete Davidson get shot in the face again.
Yeah, that. And Javier, I must say, like the first, like most of this movie, like I got so much entertainment out of you. Like, ooh, oh. Dude,
it was brutal.
Yeah.
I wasn't expecting that first scene where just everyone dies.
Yeah.
I was like, that is surprising to me.
Yeah. Especially considering the people
started liking some of the characters and they killed them off right off the bat.
Yeah.
Like Flula. You guys know who Flula is?
Flula, yeah.
He's throughout this movie.
He's the javelin guy, Flula Borg.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It had a very Deadpool-esque feel to it, though, when Deadpool tried to get like his Wolverine team together, and then everyone goes through like wood chippers and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it did feel very similar to that. Michael Rooker is his name, the actor's name, and Savant was his character. So they had some huge names, which you can tell that James Gunn got on the phone and called in all of his favors, right? Because you got Michael Rooker, who's always in his movies, but then you got Nathan Fillion, who was TDK.
I love Nathan Fillion so much.
So good. And then you got Jai Courtney coming back from the original with Captain Boomerang. You had Flula Borg as Javelin. You have Mei Ling Ing as Mongol. Pete Davidson. And then Sean Gunn was Weasel. He played the Weasel guy, James Gunn's brother.
He's harmless.
Yeah, he's harmless. He killed like 27 children, but he's harmless. So yeah, I mean, you've got all these huge actors that everybody knows comes in, and then they just kill them all, like in the first 10 minutes of this movie.
For me, though, this whole movie is like, normally we say no amount of acting can save this movie. I think in this movie that there is so much good acting that it saved this movie.
It's true. I mean, I guess that's the thing, is like the actual team. So you have Idris Elba playing, God, what's
Bloodsport? Bloodsport.
Yeah,
Bloodsport. There it is.
And then you've got the girl that plays the rat catcher too. I don't know what I know her from. Daniela Melchior's her name.
Yeah, and these like super deep cut comic book heroes, because I didn't recognize even half of them.
Yeah, I didn't recognize her.
And Suicide Squad, that actual team is like that. Like they're like Harley Quinn in the comics, and like Joker was on it for like 2 minutes, and then like 2 episodes, and there two books, and then but most of them are these like second-rate villains. Like the ones from the first movie are the bigger ones. Like you got Deadshot is a big character in there, and then Captain Boomerang was in it. So I mean, they're there, but none of them are A-list villains because it doesn't work.
They should be. Ratcatcher and Polka Dot Man, those are 2 overpowered superpowers.
Oh yeah.
Like the problem at the end was solved with one of them. Can you imagine if there were 2 of them?
Yeah. Wow. And they're just silly. Like they're not things that like carry a comic book character through. Oh, she can control rats. Yeah, it's OP, but nobody wants to see that shit. Come on. So they become second-rate characters. But I will say that the core acting group, Joel Kinnaman, Idris Elba, the ones that are in it for the long haul are fantastic. And they do a great job like making these characters likable, even though they're villains. And I mean, Ratcatcher 2 to me was like the center of this whole thing, and she had the best story, but all of them got a cool story.
It was Peacemaker for me.
Was it? Yeah, fuck. He's getting his own TV show. You'll be glad to hear.
He should.
Oh, wow.
He's still alive, by the way. We didn't stay for the post-credit scene, but the post-credit scene shows him still alive. He's in a hospital bed, and the 2 that turned on Viola Davis's character at the end, the guy and the blonde, they get their punishment is they're in charge of Peacemaker now. So
what a great punishment.
He's gonna get his own
Peacemaker's
TV show.
Peacemaker's line was one of my favorites. How did it go? Like I would like kill like every man, woman, and child in the name of liberty or something like that. Like
I was like, I hold peace very dear to my heart, and it doesn't matter how many men, women, or children I kill or something.
Get it? Yeah. It's crazy.
There's a couple of those lines that just, oh man, they made me laugh hard.
Yeah, John Cena did really good. Like there was some weird ass shit, but he's funny. Like he's standing there in the jungle in his underwear. Like,
what was that?
Tidy whities.
Didn't even get in there.
Now that's just racist.
To a black dude.
Oh god.
I cherish peace with all my heart. I don't care how many men, women, and children I kill to get it.
Yeah. There it is.
At one point I leaned over to Ian. I was like, this is just a DM trying to DM a D&D campaign.
Yeah, they murder that entire freedom fighter group. And she's like, well, they killed my family, so I'll be on your team. And I was like, oh man, that's like a natural 20 right there. Like persuasion at the wazoo.
No shit.
And nat 20s on sneak.
Yeah.
That was a very funny scene though. When they so impressively murder the entire camp. And she's like, where's all my team? And they're just like, we haven't seen anybody.
The part that got me is when that dude was on a stretcher and Peacemaker just like hatcheted up his body. I was like, holy shit. That was brutal.
So violent.
Where he shoots like the fan and it drops into the bathwater. That one.
I did like the interaction between him and Idris Elba, like when he shoots that bullet and it hits him in the shoulder, the kid in the shoulder, the dude in the shoulder, and he's like, non-lethal, you're done. It's like delayed explosive rounds.
Nobody likes to show off. Yeah. They do, and what they're showing off is fucking dope. He's like, damn it, that's true.
Oh shit. That's what I'm saying though. When this movie gets it right, God, they get it right. Because it's funny as hell.
Like when King Shark was trying to convince him to let him wear a disguise.
He's walking around with his finger up under his nose like a fake mustache. He's like, what kind of disguise? Mustache.
You're gonna wear a disguise? See. See, he's learning Spanish.
King Shark was the best part about this movie. Like when he's holding up Ratcatcher 2, getting ready to eat her, and they like unload like everything on him, and he just keeps coming, trying to kill him. Oh, it's great.
So King Shark is bulletproof then.
Well, so
Apparently.
pretty much. Yeah. I mean, shark skin is unbelievably tough. And so but everything with him, it's just like every superhero character. His natural tendencies are to be super OP that way. So yeah, he's practically bulletproof.
So think about that. Think about how hard those little like octopus squid things were biting him.
Yeah, because they're breaking through his skin.
Turning the water to blood. Like I thought he was gone.
I thought he was dead. I thought they just chummed the water with his face.
Yeah. I did love though when he first sees him and they're like he's hopping around and they're following him and he's like, stupid friends. Yay. I loved his character. The shit was great. May have been one of Sylvester Stallone's best performances ever.
Come on, that's just hurtful.
I know, just being an asshole. Just being an asshole. But outside of Rocky and Rambo, you know.
He did a little bit of soft porn in the begining of his career
fair.
too.
The Italian Stallion.
Did not know that fact.
Yeah, that's where he got the Italian Stallion name.
Yeah. Yes, it is.
The more you know, Ian.
The best jokes are the most funny because they're true.
Yep. Absolutely. Yeah, so the beginning of this movie is nuts because everybody just dies. And then you find out that the whole team was like set up to die, which, man, Amanda Waller's a bitch. She's ruthless.
And she put Margot Robbie on that team?
And her leader, Joel Kinnaman's character, Rick Flag. Like, we don't give a fuck. But she needed it to seem real. And those are the two top characters from the original.
I feel like they needed it to seem real to us as the audience.
Yes.
Not like there's a lot of stuff in this movie that I felt was very like it didn't fit, but it does because of what they wanted the audience to see or the audience to experience.
Dude, Harley Quinn is the epitome of a hot girl privilege because everyone on the beach gets killed on sight and they find Harley Quinn with a weapon in her hand and take her captive instead.
But that's because the new presidente, he just wanted to marry her.
Dude, can you imagine like sex with Harley Quinn has got to be a different experience.
Dude. I'm sure that shit will just break your ass.
Dude, she's a freak, man.
In every way possible. Throwing
literally
last fucking I loved it. I don't know.
Lit the room on fire at one point.
Well, here's the stupid part about Harley Quinn, and this is just a testament to Margot Robbie and how this, like, she has made this character one of the most entertaining things. She gets on the bus at the beginning and she's in that outfit and it's a very hard, it's like one of almost directly out of the comics Harley Quinn, the red and black leather with her ponytails red and black. She hops in and goes, sorry, I'm late. I had to go number 2. And that statement should not be sexy, but you're still like, God, she's sexy. Like she's talking about taking a shit, but that's okay. I'm okay with it.
I can be into this.
Yeah.
JJ's like, I saw 2 girls, 1 cup. That's not a deal breaker for me.
Whatever. I mean, if it's Margot Robbie, I'll figure it out. Right? But yeah, Margot Robbie kills it as Harley Quinn no matter what. And I loved too, just to kind of build on that they keep her character, the progression that she made in Birds of Prey, like sticks. When she murders this dude and she's telling, I swore I'd never have another boyfriend based on, my typical standards. If it, based on if I saw red flags, I'm going to fucking just kill him.
I'm going to do the right thing and murder him.
Is a big red flag.
Yeah.
Okay, so I was a little lost on the timeline for her. This is post Birds of Prey.
Yeah. That's why at the beginning, Boomerang says, oh, Harley, why are you back in jail? Because she got out.
Oh, got it.
For Birds of Prey, yeah. Sorry, Ian, I've cut you off like 3 times.
No, you're good, man. I just was going to say like Yeah, where she shoots the guy. Those were the things that I found the most enjoyable and entertaining in this movie because they were so unexpected. Like I loved it. Like she just shot this guy after he like tries to woo her and all this stuff, and just very Harley Quinn. Like I loved it.
Yeah.
He offers her the bird being set on fire though.
Yeah, no.
That was like the most cruel thing I saw in this movie, I think.
That was messed up.
Well, you don't actually see it. I love that that's what we're twisted up by. You see a dude's face get blown off. You see a weasel drown. A man weasel drown.
Years and years of desensitization. Oh, that was a long word. I don't care if people die, but you know what I haven't seen years and years and years of? People torching a birdhouse.
It's true.
It's messed up. I didn't know birds could sound like that. That was sad.
Yeah, it was pretty torturous. Didn't want to hear it.
Yeah,
this movie's crazy. I can't even, I don't even know what's really, it's hard to even know what to talk about because it just kind of, okay, so this movie's crazy from front to back. The violence is there. The comedy's there. There are moments that, and Ian, you touched on this in the spoiler free, but the way that it bounces around the timeline really kind of annoyed me. Like it was fine at first. Like I liked the intro because they build this giant team to go to this island. Everybody gets murdered and you're like, what the fuck is happening right now? And then it cuts back to before that and shows the other team getting built of King Shark and Bloodsport and those guys, the smaller team that's the actual team that's supposed to infiltrate this facility. But after that, they do it like 3 more times. Yeah. And I'm like, it was unnecessary those 3 times.
Well, I'm not going to lie. I got kind of excited to see some of those initial characters in random situations like TDK. I wanted to see his leg get detached and start kicking people in the butt or something. Like I was excited to see more of these characters, to hear Flula, and they killed him off right at the start there. So, but yeah, it's very abrupt. And there's multiple times where this abruptness, like change course or go back 8 minutes or that they do it multiple times. And I think you can only use that so many times before it like throws people out and that it gets hard to like reset back into the story, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I do. There are a couple of things where I'm like, what are the qualifications for blowing one of their heads up? Right. Because so far it's just bad. If you so much as step out of line, I will start threatening to blow your head off. But like the mission was to go to Jotunheim or whatever.
Yeah,
Jotunheim and blow the thing up. And we do like 4 other missions and there's no problem with any of that.
That's fair. Well, because comms go down at some point. There's a point when they get into the town where the comms go down. So when he decides to go after Harley Quinn, the comms go down so they can't tell what they're doing. That's why you see them at the end and they're all asleep after they blow up the building.
Yeah, I know. Okay. Yeah, that's fair.
So I think 2 of the missions where they would have been like, no, you're going off the initial mission, and Waller would have been like, I'll blow your fucking head up. She couldn't tell what they were doing. So she wasn't able to threaten.
I mean, she could still track them.
Sure, but they don't know if they're just on their way to Jotunheim or...
All right, that's fair.
I mean, that's the only explanation I have.
I will say they could have dropped him off a little closer because my understanding is this is a small island nation. They drop him off on the beach and it takes them 2 days in a car ride with Milton to get to this town. And I feel like technology, parachutes, something... Drop them.
Honestly, you probably could have gotten 69 people on through the beach and through the jungle.
That was another good part.
Joke. That was a great joke, especially because the dude's like 69. He like freaks the fuck out,
and the guy has to like explain it to him. And I was really hoping that they would explain it in Spanish because I'm like, how do you explain this joke to someone in Spanish?
Oh, shit. I was wondering, too, Ian, like you said, there was water on the backside of Jotunheim, that facility. Why couldn't you just drop them on that side of the beach? At least the second team, right? Like, I get using the first team as a distraction and then clearing that out. But then if the whole goal is Jotunheim, why not drop them off in the backside of Jotunheim where the ocean is? But I don't know. Maybe it was
I think I am okay with it, though, because it brought in, like, the quite literal unsung hero of Milton, because that like Milton conversation in the middle of Jotunheim, like I thought that was hilarious. Like he's been with us for 3 hours, because I as a viewer was like, why is this guy going with them into Jotunheim?
he comes out of like
he's
the
just tagging
rain
along.
mist. You're like, he's not even armed. Doesn't even have any.
Yeah.
They take his shotgun away from him.
Yeah.
That is the best. Milton is still with us. And then Margot Robbie is talking to Idris Elba. She's like, I'll be your friend, Milton. Not my name.
Yeah.
Like, we literally just talked for like 3 hours about how that's your name. No, we didn't.
I love when she like looks out of the cubicle she's hiding. She goes, "Oh, that guy."
I don't even think I've ever met a Milton. It's not a very common name.
Oh, shit. It's fucking great.
I love how they're taking for cover too. Polka Dot guy stands up. He's like, "Are you fucking with me right now?"
Yeah. There were, like I said, when they got it right, man.
Yeah, I was expecting to come in and like crap on this movie. And now you guys are like pointing out all these funny parts. I'm like, okay, maybe it was better than I thought.
Nothing like starting the day with a bloodbath.
Yeah.
I thought you were supposed to be the crazy one. I am.
The starfish starts coming out, and Polka Dot is like hiding away, and Bloodsport, it's your mom.
Dude, when they actually made these characters his mom, I thought that was gonna get old really fast. But when they did it with the starfish, I was like, this is amazing. I love every second of this.
Well, and her tiny little arms, like they shortened her arms to look like the starfish freaking appendages, like swinging into the building and shit. God, it was great.
Well, they did that with so what's the shark's name? Anawe or something?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nanawe.
Yeah, where he had like the mom had this like massive upper body and the face just kind of plastered on there.
I laughed when he's like, everyone's my mom. And then it shows like that superhero moment, like where everybody's standing and looking like a badass. And it's just like 6 of his mother in all the different shapes.
And then they're just like, anyway, moving on.
Yeah, this movie's all over the place. But I will say, since you brought up the starfish, all James Gunn did was take the opening scene of Guardians of the Galaxy 2 with the big monster at the beginning of that where they fight it and Groot's dancing, baby Groot's dancing and shit. And they extended it and gave it little baby starfish that could take over people's bodies. Like that's all that scene was, down to the point that you had Dave Bautista's character in Guardians of the Galaxy jumps up and is stabbing this thing with the knife on its back or gets swallowed or whatever. You have King Shark jumping up and chewing on it at one point that looks almost identical. I was like, this is just a cheap remake of that scene. And I hated everything about that scene. Like the starfish annoyed me.
Like I'm really confused on like what does and doesn't hurt a starfish, because they like shot at it. Certain things could bite it, but other things couldn't. And like,
they shot it in the eye, but the javelin went through it like butter, dude.
Yeah. And it opened up some big ass hole for all the rats to get in.
Yeah.
And then apparently rats can breathe for like 20 minutes in whatever.
And chew and just like eat and shit.
Yeah.
Dude, not to mention
eating this shit.
Drew, did you know that rabbits actually eat their own poop?
Gross.
So they literally eat shit. So fun fact. Not to mention that a starfish is like the lamest monster villain ever. I don't look at a giant starfish and quake in terror.
No.
Yeah, it felt like it was right out of a cartoon.
Dude, if I had to watch it ejaculate a bunch of tiny little starfish, one more time, I was gonna hurl. It was so gross.
Yeah, it was very gross.
So would these be starmen?
Nice.
So stupid.
Low-hanging fruit. Literally low-hanging fruit.
Well, and I hated too, like the fact that these little starfish got everybody on the island except for the Suicide Squad. And the only one that it made sense that they didn't get was King Shark and then Ratcatcher because she had a mask. Everybody else, I'm like, they're just that good at swatting them away. Like, come on.
Yeah. Did you see Bloodsport just popping him off like he's a skeet shooter in the Olympics?
Yeah, no shit. Yeah. I hated, and that part made this movie feel so long. Like as soon as the starfish, when they got to Jotunheim, like I would have rather there not been a starfish at all. Make the thinker your big bad, right? Make him the guy that they're going to get because he's too dangerous because he's too smart and he can do too much. Don't make this Starro. Like I get that you're pulling obscure villain because you have obscure villains fighting the most obscure villain, but come on. Starro was stupid. It was so dumb, and I didn't enjoy any of that fight at all.
Well, going back to the pacing of the movie, like it felt before Starro emerges, it felt like a natural coming down to an ending, like a resolve, and then it ramped back up again with Starro coming back out. And I really did not like that constant up and down, sudden stop, restart, like that was throughout this movie. So I agree with you on that one, JJ.
And I was more interested in the Suicide Squad. Yeah. Right. Like everything that was going on with them, that Peacemaker who thinks he's the good guy is the bad guy, and like all this back and forth. That was way more interesting than a giant starfish wrecking a small country.
Yeah. Well, absolutely. And it diminishes that moment, right? Like you have Peacemaker killing Rick Flag in order to make peace. I don't know, keep the peace, whatever, because Amanda Waller told him not to let the information out. So you have this battle between two characters that you've come to enjoy, and then it just gets like pushed to the side. And I think that kind of is, maybe that's more of why I didn't enjoy it. Now that you say that, is we spent all this time like getting to know the backstory of these characters and what makes them them, and you actually really enjoy most of them, if not all of them. And then all of a sudden, it's just this big battle that really doesn't mean anything. Like there's no reason for it other than for Bloodsport to be able to say to Amanda Waller, I have this disc full of information that shows that you're the asshole, so you're going to let the rest of us go. And it's like, you could have done that without the giant ass weird fucking starfish that shit out other starfish. Like it just didn't add anything to the movie.
Bloodsport sure did upload that to a private server really quickly in the middle of a country that just was destroyed by a starfish.
And like there were so many other ways, like if you wanted to have like a big standoff because I think the point of that was the character arc of Bloodsport, right? Where he's like, all right, I do give a shit about other people, right? But like you could have done that with other things, like the 9 military coups that happened throughout this movie, or the 7 different presidents. Like there could have been like the new president comes in and starts eradicating people, and you stopped that, right? Or the super smart guy was, I don't know, doing something that he shouldn't have done, and you stop him, right? Like what's the point of adding another bad guy to this movie?
Well, and again, one that it just doesn't, like, even when they killed him, I'm like, finally. Can we move on?
They had that line that because Starro could talk through his little sperm cells.
Yeah.
And he was like, I was happy just floating, looking at the stars. I'm like, you can't go around screaming, this is my city, and then be like, I was content just sunbathing. That's not, you don't get it both ways, dude.
Yeah, like you ripped the thinker in half, the guy that'd been torturing you for 30 years. Just if you're happy with the stars, just fucking leave. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, just sit down on the island and go, hey, can I go back to space now? I'm sure we can accommodate. Like,
I would have been okay with that ending too.
Yeah, I would have been more okay with that ending. Like, he comes down, and instead of being some big bad that you got to fight, like he just sits down and goes, can I go back to space now? I think that would have been funny as fuck. And I would have laughed and gone, so much for your big bad and your monster wanting to, destroy the world. That shit would have been hilarious.
If you want to break rules, that would have been hilarious. Yeah. This huge thing bursts out of a prison. It's just like, I don't want to do this, actually.
and then like King Shark comes and sits down next to it. Friend. Like that shit would have been hilarious.
Awesome. I like that.
Nom nom?
Nom nom?
Really? That's what you're thinking about right now? No.
This nom nom.
This nom nom.
Oh God. King Shark was the best. Nom nom.
Yeah. Good. So I do agree with you, Ian, in the sense that like I think they had a really good idea of what they wanted to do for the first 45 minutes. And then they're like, we have to have a plot of some sort, right? We can't just keep putting people on beaches and killing them. Yeah. So and then they lost.
I seriously think that they got to that point, and then they just started like with a magic 8 ball throwing out plot points and just went with whatever happened. Because it feels like that random in some points where they just didn't know what to do and they're like on the fly. All right, we'll go in this direction and see how far we can get before we switch it up again.
Yeah, it does have a very let's roll a dice and see what happens kind of feel to it.
Yeah. Well, and they gave like Polka Dot Man such an unsatisfying death. Like he blows off half of his mom's leg in his vision, right? With his polka dots. And I'm a superhero and gets mushed. I'm like, it was so unsatisfying. Like, I'm okay that he died, but he died to this character that I don't want them fighting. Like I hated it. Stupid.
Yeah. I would have rather him die at killing his actual mom.
Yeah, that would have been good. Well, and I would have liked him to have been like, because I was thinking too, like, what if, they destroyed this building and Amanda Waller's back and, it would have been funny to me if like he knocks down whatever villain, anybody but Starro, say like it's the Thinker now, and we change the ending of this thing. And instead of them fighting the whatever, he disintegrates the Thinker, right? Thinking it's his mom or whatever. And then he's like, I'm a hero. And then Waller gets up pissed and is like, fuck you, and blows his head off. That shit would have been entertaining as fuck. And it would have been funny because it would have been shocking because she wakes up from, getting her head fucking bashed in and has a secret button. She blows his head up and then begins to threaten the other ones, right? Like, now, I'm back. You don't get to pull this shit. And then he, Bloodsport says, well, I've got the files. Fuck off. Mm-hmm. To me, that would have been more random than this fucking giant ass starfish stepping on him. Like, it was expected that was going to happen. Mm-hmm. And everything from Starro on, everything, I just was like, oh, this is just typical over the top shit that there's no subverting expectations anymore other than they're fighting a giant ass starfish with an eye in the middle of its face.
So do you think, now that I'm thinking about it, why wasn't the whole mission just to, like, would it make sense if the mission was just to, hey, go destroy all this data that shows that this thing came from the US? This is Suicide Squad. Like, you're putting them together. They're just trying to get time off their sentence, right? So do you guys think that, like, them as a squad would have just been okay if it would have been like, hey, your mission is go destroy a bunch of data so the story doesn't get out, if that was the real issue?
Dude, without Captain Jack, nobody gives a shit, right?
Yeah, without Rick Flag, nobody cares.
Well, they put him on the death team anyways.
So. Well, I know he's the leader. Well, and I laugh too because they kill Rick Flag, right? And I'm like, Joel Kinnaman just didn't want to do another one of these movies. Yeah. It's like, that's all that shit was. Kill off the leader. Yeah, he just didn't want to do it again.
I did not need the internal organ zoom in.
Right.
Like, I can piece together that stabbing someone in the chest kills them.
With a piece of a toilet breaks their. Yeah.
I'm good. I can figure that out.
They made some odd choices, definitely. And this is another movie that I feel like, it's 2 hours and 12 minutes. It felt like 2.5 hours to me. Yeah. I feel like you could have probably found some weird shit to cut 10 to 15 minutes of this movie and then taken out the whole Starro thing, or minimize it and change it to where it's not a big fight, and it would have been a better movie. Like, I think at that point, I'd be like, you got to go to the theater and see this. Because how fucking funny, like I said, how funny would it be? This giant ass on its giant screen, Starro comes out all huge and shit, and then they don't even actually fight him. Like, that shit would have been hilariously cool.
And, like, they had a very, like, Borderlands-esque thing, too, when it pops up, like, the Suicide Squad versus Starro the Conqueror. Mm-hmm. And Borderlands does stuff like that all the time. Yeah. Right? Like, in the first game, one mission you have is to teabag someone. That's the whole mission. It's just amazing.
Yeah.
And it kind of seems like that's what they were trying to emulate, like that type of like random humor that you're just not expecting. Mm-hmm. And I don't know. It seemed like they skirted around it, but where it really counted, they didn't do it.
Yeah, and it's bad that the ending is what really where they lost it, because there was so much good throughout the first, like you said, Ian, in the spoiler-free 45 to 50 minutes of this movie. Even probably the first hour and a half of this movie. It was just when the whole Starro thing became the big part, the lead up to that, and then the whole ending I just didn't love it.
Well, I feel like I have a max. Like, these are definitely not my type of movie. Sure. I have like a max about like how much gore, cheap laugh stuff that I can bring in, and like it's entertaining. And then it gets to a point where it's like, okay, like I've seen this trick before. Like, I've seen this as a one trick pony. Like, and I just felt like they if they would have cut it like you guys are saying, it still would have been entertaining throughout the whole movie for me, rather than getting towards the end and just being like, all right, are we done yet? Like, because now you guys are just, I know it's coming.
The gore is out of control.
Oh, fuck. It's all over the place.
King Shark tears someone in half at one point. And
what a great slow. I love that they paused it while he's like mid-rip and screaming, and like then it darkens it so it almost looks like a silhouette shadow. Look, I was like, that's a bitchin' poster right there.
Or the head that he takes off and then he's got it in his mouth. And then the eyes are just like looking horrified. I was like, that's clever, but I also didn't need to see that.
Yeah.
So, I actually loved it. Like, and each time you see him nomming on it, like it's a little less and more of a skull. Like there's less flesh on it. Like at the very end, when Starro breaks out and he's just holding it there and it's just the skull. I thought that shit was great. He doesn't care. He's just, I'm not. I laughed at everything that had to do with King Shark though. Like that shit was great.
Dude, props to that military though for unloading like 30 mags into this shark.
While he's laying there.
Yeah, and then just being more scared of like a collapsing building and then staying there.
I like their battering ram where they just like put a grill on a Humvee and just drove it into the door.
Into like blast doors.
Yeah. And nothing happened to the truck at all. Like
you would have had better luck trying to haul it off with a Humvee than smashing it with a Humvee.
I didn't like and I think where I started to get pulled out of this was when the building collapsed and Bloodsport's standing on that piece that falls, like, and he falls like a long way and lands on his feet. And they've given no inclination that this guy's superhuman at all. He's just a military guy, but he falls like 25 feet or some shit, lands on his feet, then continues to like floor by floor fall with the floor. I was like, okay.
But since so many floors stack up, by the time you get to the last floor, you're only falling like 4 feet.
No, don't get me wrong. By the end, I was fine with it. It was that first initial fall and he lands on his feet like nothing was wrong. That I was like, no, his legs are fucking buckled.
It looked like, because these guys are only up in like 6 inches, right? That looked like that still hurt Idris Elba. Like the way he landed.
Well, he's older than you think. I think he's like in his 50s.
Dude,
so I'm sure he landed and was like, fuck, my knees hurt, bro. Yeah, that part. And I would have laughed harder, I think. Like, I enjoyed, like, the callback to the beginning where Peacemaker was talking about the smaller bullets to go through the hole that you make without touching
I hit more dead center. How do you hit more dead center?
No shit.
Smaller bullets.
So I like the callback of the smaller bullet going through the bigger bullet to kill, or what you think was kill Peacemaker. But I realized they needed him to be alive for the TV show. But I would have laughed more if like the falling concrete like landed on Peacemaker. You know what I mean? Like he's falling.
That's what I thought was going to happen.
Splat. I did too. And then I was like, oh, fuck. Because I think that would have been way funnier than the callback with the smaller bullets or whatever. But then you don't get your TV show that they're getting with Peacemaker later. So
there was a weak reason to kill Ratcatcher. Though, because according to Peacemaker's logic, he's going to have to kill everyone in the Suicide Squad, right?
Mm-hmm.
I guess that's not true. He just needs to kill the people who know that the states have
data.
Yeah. So I guess it's just those two.
Just those two at that point. Yeah.
Okay, never mind.
But still, like, I don't know.
From someone who's supposed to be like the best, nicest part of the Suicide Squad, I would have needed a better reason to kill her than that.
Yeah. Though somehow in his mind he got it that it was a matter of peace and liberty. So once that happens, any man, woman, and child.
Yeah. Doesn't Bloodsport even say like, I think that's just an excuse for you to do whatever you want, kind of a thing?
Yeah. Well, you don't kill men for money.
That's about right.
Pretty much.
That is a lawful good paladin.
Oh yeah. No question about it. It's exactly what that is. Bunch of murder hobos.
Dude, that scene of them walking through the freedom fighter camp, I cannot get over.
Oh,
that's a hilarious scene.
It's so good. They light the one dude on fire and like just walk right by his burning ass. Like it's just still the best one is King Shark though, when he comes up behind that dude and grabs him and just swallows his asshole.
Oh my gosh.
Fucking great. Nom nom and just
it's like a whole person.
Oh yeah.
Jeez.
I love hand. Like Oh yeah, what a great
bird.
Yes, get off the comms. And now, okay, I'm glad you brought that up because that scene was one of the funnier scenes. Like when Harley Quinn goes full badass, like almost like Cop Station from Birds of Prey, and just starts throwing people around and murking them. And I love the scene where she gets the 2 machine guns and she's just unloading on everyone. And it just shows them like getting cut down, and you got all like the Cinderella cartoon birds and flowers and shit flying all over behind her. I loved that moment. And then she comes out and she gets all, I can go back in if you want me to let you come save
What are you guys
me.
doing? We're rescuing you.
It was a good plan too.
She like tears up.
I can go back in. Oh shit. I love Harley Quinn. I read an article earlier, early yesterday before we went, and I got about a quarter of the way through and I shut it. I was like, oh, you just clickbait piece of shit. Like their whole thing was Harley Quinn's a great character and she's the same, throughout all the movies she's in. But in this one, it's become annoying. I'm like, no, fucker, you just have no idea what fun is.
Because all the other ones are PG-13 and this one's R.
No, Birds of Prey was rated R.
Birds of Prey.
Oh, it was?
Yeah. Yeah, it was rated R. I had the same thought and I found that out last night because I asked Casey, was Birds of Prey rated R? Because I didn't remember it being overly violent or crazy, but yeah, it was rated R.
Was the first Suicide Squad PG-13 or R?
Yes, it was PG-13.
Okay, because I sat down to watch this movie and I was like, I wonder what this movie's rated. And then a blade like cut a guy's brain in half and it slid off of his head. And I was like, okay, I know now.
I got it.
I get it.
I got it.
I'm really glad though that Will Smith has been reincarnated into Idris Elba.
Yeah. Changed his name from Deadshot to Bloodsport.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
We should just cast Idris Elba, just remake all of Will Smith's movies and just see who did it better.
There you go.
Starting with the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
The oldest Fresh Prince of Bel-Air on the planet. Will, why is there so much gray in your beard? Shut up.
Man.
Yeah, there you go. And he's British, the British Prince of Bel-Air, Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
Dude, Idris Elba is in this TV show, this BBC show called Luther. Ian, I think you would like it. It's a great show. He's a detective. And
great show.
Yeah, it's awesome. That's how he got launched in the States, was Luther. Yeah, that was I think the first thing. I think you have to move to Great Britain.
I think either Netflix or Hulu had it at one point, but I can't remember.
Dude, that's gotta suck for the BBC because they have like 4 actors, right? Yeah. And then Idris Elba is like, oh, he's huge, and then he just comes over here. Which, speaking of BBC, you got the smart dude. He was one of the doctors in Doctor Who. He was terrible. He was the worst doctor by far.
It was hard to watch any of the doctors after David Tennant. So David Tennant was
Matt Smith.
Matt Smith was good.
Matt Smith. True. It was hard to watch all of them after Matt Smith.
That's fair. All right. Are we ready to rate this movie?
So ready.
All right. Let's do it.
Coming out with my 4.5. Just kidding.
Let's hear what you got to say, Javier. Kick us off, buddy.
Okay, so I like this movie more than these guys did, for sure. I think this movie's hilarious. I think the acting's great. I think the storyline is about what you could expect from a movie that has Cinderella animated birds as Harley Quinn is slitting people's throats with a javelin.
It's amazing.
So expect that level of plot progression. I am going to give this a 3.5 because I try to rate it for what it is and for how much fun I had. So this is a very much like Hitman's Wife's Bodyguard, where I'm a little embarrassed at how much I liked it, but it was good. And if anyone's walking around here saying it's a terrible movie, they just have Marvel's dick deep in their throat.
That's funny. So would you watch it again?
Visual.
Yeah, I'd watch it again.
Okay. Ian, what about you, my friend?
See, I came on the spoiler free.
Do you want to get that Marvel dick out of your mouth first?
I feel like you went first and said that so that I would have to have that as like the consequence for saying what I'm going to say. Well played, sir. Well played. No, but like I said, I came into the spoiler free and I was very like, I didn't like it. The last part of the movie was very fresh in mind. But then as we talked through it, I was like, okay, I laughed at a lot of these parts and they were good fun. I just don't think I had the stamina to go as far as James Gunn can go.
That's what she said.
Yep, there you go. You set me up. Now I'm setting you up. But yeah, we talked about it, like changing that ending, maybe kind of fixing some of the pacing issues that kept pulling me out. It was kind of rough. And I don't have that tolerance for like constant gore. Like after like the 15th person being torn in half, I was like, all right, like I get what the inside of an individual looks like. So it's hard though, because when I look at some of the other movies that I've rated a little bit lower, I don't know where to place this one because I did have fun. It just wasn't like throughout. There were some things that just rubbed me the wrong way. But yeah, I don't know why, but this entire spiel that I've given, I've said like 5 or 6 things that have easily led to like sexual innuendos. And I don't know why.
It's that that Harley Quinn scene
the wrong way.
It's
like,
still
Jeez. Anyways, what I'm trying to say is I think I'm going to go with a 2, and only because I enjoyed talking about it with you guys so much after, but it's not one that I'm going to see again. I feel like I got my fill. Like I said, I was expecting a Suicide Squad like the first Suicide Squad, and this one wasn't in those realms. So I should have checked my expectations before I came to this one. So that's where I'll sit. I'm at a 2.
I expected that to be worse, to be honest.
I did too.
Me too. Me too.
I hate to disappoint Javier, but I talk a lot of shit on this parts of this movie, but I actually had a great time. I laughed my ass off. I laughed a lot at this movie, and I liked more of the characters than I thought I would. I knew I went in, and it's almost like when I started it, I was like, okay, James Gunn is interesting because that guy's crazy, and he does make interesting films in a lot of ways. But I also looked at it as am I going to see this because it's another Harley Quinn movie, right? And I will go see anything with Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn. But I turned out to really enjoy a lot of characters. King Shark was great. Rick Flag was a great one. There were just a lot of fun things about this movie until the end. And I think the end really pulled me out of the movie to the point that I was bored and I was annoyed at the way that it went, like to the point that it telegraphed so much. Like there's you see Harley Quinn gets knocked into the building, and then you see like the ledge that she eventually jumps off of into Starro's eye. Like I saw that a few minutes before. I was like, oh, she's going to climb up there and jump into his eye with the spear.
Javelin.
The javelin. I was like, hey, fuck, they just went
from a mile away.
Yeah, right? Exactly. I was like, they went silly, predictable at the end, where the movie had been relatively unpredictable throughout, right? Just some really odd moments and things that you weren't expecting. And so I feel like they got lazy. They didn't know how to finish it, like you guys had talked about earlier. So they kind of went weird. Starro didn't impress me. They could have ended this movie better. And it made the movie feel long and drug on. I didn't love the multiple time jumps. I get why they did it in the beginning, and it worked at first. Mm-hmm. The second time, okay, fine. But by the third and fourth time, I was done. I was like, oh, here we go again. And like Ian said, it pulls you out of the movie. However, all of the bitching aside, I left having been entertained for the better part of a couple of hours and laughed my ass off way more than I expected. So I also am going to give it a 3.5. I'm surprised too, because I think some of this movie suffered from the movie we watched last week. Stillwater was so good and it was so well acted that I feel like this one suffered a little bit because they didn't finish it. The ending was so damn good in Stillwater that I expected another good ending, and it just didn't have it on this one. So it's suffering. But I am going to give it a 3.5. I did really enjoy the movie. I would probably watch it again if I just needed something on in the background and wanted to laugh at moments, because then I can dip out when I don't care about the shit that's going on and dip back in when I know something funny's about to happen, like King Shark messing with a bunch of killer freaking squid or whatever the hell those things were.
Like Teletubbies.
Yeah, exactly. Floating purpley, like colorful bugs. Stupid friends. Yeah, it fucking was a great line. Anyway, overall pretty enjoyable movie, but it could have been better, which is sad. So there it is. A 2, couple of 3.5s. Overall, a good movie. Go watch this movie at home. You don't need to go to the theater to see it. There's nothing you can't watch at home and still have as good a time. But yeah, that's that. Next week, I'm so excited. Free Guy. Cannot wait. I'm a little worried. I'm worried though, because it's like I've been waiting a year to see this movie, and I feel like I'm hoping that I'm wrong, but I feel like the trailers have shown so much of the movie at this point that I'm gonna be let down watching the actual movie.
I think this movie's going to be a letdown.
That last trailer.
Yeah. After that last trailer, I'm a little worried about where this movie's going.
I'm terrified because I have been looking so forward to this movie, and now I feel like that they've given away so much of it that I'm afraid it's going to be a letdown. But we'll see. We are doing Free Guy next week, so tune in for that. Go check us out on the socials, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, all at What's Our Verdict. Watch for some new content coming there. Yeah.
They're letting me have unfettered access to Twitter. So I'm just going to see how long it takes to have that revoked. So until then,
the account gets banned.
Or the account gets banned, whichever comes first.
That's true. We are setting loose Javier on Twitter. He is our new Twitter account manager. So if you want to have some fun interactions and just enjoy what we post, go check
I've never used Twitter either, so I might inadvertently do terrible things. So
here's the thing:
fingers crossed.
We rarely use it anyway. So if you get us banned, you get us banned.
Okay, cool.
And if you go to check us out on Twitter and you can't get to our account, go check us out on Instagram and Facebook. Javier's probably gotten us banned. So one way or another, go check us out. You can also check us out on our website, whatsourverdict.com. We have our spoiler frees. You can watch them there. Our last 5 spoiler frees. You can see what's coming up for the rest of the month and as we move forward. And then you can also interact with us and listen to each and every one of our episodes that we've ever released. So check that out. Email us at hosts@whatsourverdict.com. Let us know what you think. Tell us what movies you want us to watch as they're coming out the rest of this year. We're never set in stone for our schedule until the first of the month. So reach out. Let us know what you want to watch. With that, we appreciate you listening. We'll catch you on the next one.
Bye-bye now.
Cinemagic out.